Out of the Hallow, Book 1 of 3 in the Hallow series by Jezzaul. Chapter 2. A Visit with the Master. Dante lit a fire outside his adobe. Master Dante lived closed off from the hilltop villages of the Elvish Red Forest clan. His home was inset to the hollow wall, deep in the shallows. Moonlight peered in through an opening at the cave's ceiling. The night was peaceful, and birds sang from a nearby tulip sapling Dante planted a few days ago. He sat on a cold stone bench while cooking his evening meal. He usually ate alone, near a warm fire, but this time he was expecting company. He knew a warrior was coming. He perceived a good man who would save them all was close. Dante heard footsteps. Eddipus was approaching.
Warrior Eddipus, I heard you are coming to Clan Master Dante's. I has been waiting for you. I has known for some time now.
How could you know, Master Dante? Who could have told you? Eddipus asked, as he pulled up a small boulder and sat near Dante's fire.
I heard it, yes. Through the winds, through the breeze, from my master.
From my master.
I has heard it from the earth, or I has heard it from one of these cuties.
He pointed to his sapling full of birds and chuckled. Eddipus scratched his head, confused. Dante had always been a little poetic in his speech. Not only was he poetic, but he was also cryptic at times. It could bewilder half the village. Yet such are the ways of a wise, half-crazed hermit elf.
Master, the birds talk.
I don't understand. Should I run to the Magi's?
Warrior Eddipus, do you know nothing of sarcasm and wit? I has been using mystifying humor. I has your leg and pulled. Eddipus, thou hast brought old Clan Master Dante something to study using his grand magic.
Yes, Master Dante. For my journey to save the Hallows tree, or a great war will befall the land as foretold. Eddipus reached into his leather pack and pulled out the sage fruit. Dante seized the herb, bringing out a small magnifying eyeglass.
You will find, Eddipus, that many things has foretold from elders. I has foretold stories as such too. Yes, tall tales, a lot of them. Some of them true.
All of mine are.
A voice rang. Oedipus did not hear it, nor did he see the figure standing behind Dante. But the Grand Master felt his presence and heard him clearly. Is it true that a war between our peoples and man will come to fruition if the tree isn't cured?
Yes, war will come. But where there's war, there's sometimes hope, warrior Eddipus. I has heard it, that you are impassioned. Eddipus, you know it's against our highest laws. Shameful.
Dante glanced past his spectacle at Oedipus's idiom pinned to his brown tunic. Master, he gasped, but stopped midway as he looked back at Dante's slight smirk.
Come now, Eddipus. I won't tell the silly villagers or those magi and their funny hats. I has known that ritual doesn't make it right. has known some we should ignore.
The mysterious voice replied, one that was disembodied for the moment, and if you looked at it, you would perish. The voice did not reach Dante's ears, but his heart.
Some laws, but mine.
It was Dante's master, a form of many forms, a master of many masters, and the wisest of the wise. He could awaken mountains, calm waters, and make the branches of trees sway simply by walking quietly past them. Dante heard him, and heard him well, and answered his call without resistance every time. With just a small breath, he could swing his terrifying, fast, fearsome soul. Dante nodded sharply in agreement, then sat the sage fruit down. Clasping his warm soup, he sipped, just a silent nod of appreciation to his master. Dante was neither boastful nor haughty, for he feared sliding down a slippery slope, and turned to his mental repository to speak with his master from time to time. Timing. That was very important. Not Dante's timing, or even the creation of time, just timing. And even Dante knew when to wait patiently. He took a moment to catch his breath, and set his soup down. He looked at Eddipus, smiled, and knew that he was the true warrior. He and the Priestess Hilda, they were the key. He knew that, as his master had told him. The sound of the fire surrounded them, and the one voice in his heart warned Dante's spirit and spoke wisely. Sister Lisa unlatched the door into her hut. She was the youngest and prettiest of the elven sisterhood. There was a bench and table inside. There were 4 old beds owned by her family members. A hearth adorned the center of the shack. There was no way anyone could hide inside. The smell of baked bread, wild herbs, and wafts of apple sweets swirled around. The home was simple, but still a home. Sister Lisa smiled as Hilda entered through the entrance and wrapped her arms around her.
Oh, Hilda, it's wonderful to see you again. Where were you?
Hilda sat down near the hearth. I was visiting the magic tree in the hollows. It's dying. I hear if you talk to Verdure, they hear you, and it helps them to grow.
I'll visit the great tree, Hilda. I'll go there tonight and give it some plant growth. I pray no war comes between us and man. I understand the magic of the sage fruit. I may not be able to cure its sickness, but I can prolong its death.
Don't worry, Sister Lisa. Eddipus will save us. The magic of the sage fruit tree has turned us sickly pale. Hilda paused for a moment, while Sister Lisa fiddled with the cooking pot over the hearth. Lisa sliced potatoes into the stew. The reason I'm here is that I promised warrior Eddipus I'd watch over you.
Oh, a high priestess looking over my home and the parish? It's an honor and a blessing.
Sister Lisa replied, tapping a spoon over the boiling kettle. Don't worry, Sister Lisa. If there's any trouble, I'll take care of it. I'll protect you and your family with what little magic I know.
Thank you, Priestess Hilda of the High Groves. I appreciate that. Please, let me know if you're hungry at all. I'll pour you some warm alcorn deer stew.
She laughed. No need to walk on ceremony. We're friends, and your family to Eddipus. She paused. And I'm honored to be your friend. The village was quiet, except for a gathering of elves and men. Hilltop called for a convocation of humans' finest warriors, priestesses, and wise men. They needed to know about the magic sage fruit tree in the hollow. Sending the warrior Elve Eddipus wasn't enough. The center pavilion was of pure white pillar created from elven salt. It had stood the test of time, weather, and war. It was the perfect place for a meeting of the minds. The stone lit up with magic energy, lighting the night with allurement. Jezzaul, Sumarious led the council. Magi and elders stepped forward towards the stone. Jezzaul's face was solemn and saddened, but wise and weathered.
We're gathered here to discuss the magic of the sage fruit tree.
Jezzaul paused. He looked distant. He finally gathered his strength and continued.
The tree is dying. We sent out a warrior to meet with our clan master who resides in the sacred stronghold of our people.
I'm sorry, Headmaster. I'm not sure what a dying tree has to do with humans.
King Tullius Didymus stepped forward to the glowing stone, representing humanity.
It has everything to do with humans. The tree is dying because of magic. The magic of the tree has been a symbol of peace between us for years. Don't you remember your history and the Battle of Red over 7 millennia ago?
Yes. Fruit fell from the tree, and missionaries took them in a basket to the leaders of the battle tribe of your people. But magic? I'm doubtful.
Tullius scoffed.
The magic of the tree is the magic of the forest. It's magic of the forest that has kept the peace. It's more than some symbol you can tote.
Jezzaul was stern.
I'm sorry, Master Sumarious.
Tullius spoke with sarcasm and disdain.
I'm not sure what magic you're talking about. I'm not a magician.
I shan't debate religious beliefs or opinions, most of all with a brood of vipers.
A loud, piercing explosion lit up the sky. The burst carried Jezzaul's voice in brilliant flames. It scattered back into the heavens like stars twinkling in the night. The voice ensnared the human. It was an insult, but it was one they couldn't ignore. Tullius backed away like an ugly, disciplined mountain cur.
I'll listen to what you have to say,
Didymus offered.
for I'm sure you are now a conjurer. I've been in battle, a mere king of the West. I've never seen magic in action.
You haven't? The magic of the tree, the world around you, life, is that not proof? It is pure magic, and not mine. There is a power greater than anyone has ever seen in this realm.
Jezzaul snapped his fingers.
The tomes. Bring them,
He commanded. 2 men ran and came back in a few moments' time with 2 cracked, dusty stone tablets.
These foretold a time by our ancients. A time where, if the great tree in the hollow dies, so does peace between men and Elven.
The council was silent. The elders, magi, priestesses, both human and elve, looked at the tomes. Jezzaul read aloud the ancient texts of the past. They were fearful, sorrowful, doubtful, but determined.